Hello everyone, this is Zibo and welcome to today's Who to Pull video. So in this bi-weekly series, we run through the heroes on the Hero Up banner within Garden Tales and see which heroes you should spend your gems on if you do decide to spend your gems on the banner, as well as whether or not some heroes actually have some room for usage, and let's say if you do decide to pull for them, how can you run them within your team. And without further ado, let us start today's video. So let us start with the star of the show, which is Warlord Mecenary Orca. So personally, I feel that Orca is the most valuable one in the banner because Orca's kit makes her really flexible in terms of usage within different game modes. Because her skill set is very AoE based, this makes room clearance decently fast. She does pretty well in guild raids as well if you want to build a water team, and there's a very high chance that if you do decide to pull on this banner, it's because you're already building a water team, so that's that. And Orca is a decent arena unit, not the best out there, and especially with Kamel and Mayro running around, it's not really a good time for water units, but nonetheless, she's still decently good there. And if you do have the units to pair up with her, namely your defensive units, or even Garum to try your water range damage comp, then I guess you could give her a try within the arena itself. Overall, I'll say that go for this one, or rather go for Orca if you have the spare gems and if you want to participate in the mileage event, because I think range attack is just a really good buff in terms of doing damage in raids. So even if you don't put her in the water team, I think she can still do decent damage in terms of the other teams if let's say you do not have other range attack party buff. And the next unit on the list is Lifeguard Yuze. So Yuze is the sexiest unit on the list, rocking an amazing figure in a one-piece swimsuit. However, despite her being a really sexy figure, she isn't really that good in terms of usage, because she lies in an awkward position in the guild raid. Yes, she does have a defense debuff, but because her party buff is weapon skill regen speed, which benefits only the leader unit, it's not that spectacular in a team-based setting. At the same time, because the water units, or rather the water raid teams, it's better in the range spectrum. So you have a lot of good water range unit like Garum, Bianca, Veronica, even Orca, the latest added unit, even the 2-star Rachel, right? So overall, the water units are better in the range spectrum. So you can't really form a good water melee team to fit Yuze in, and that's why she's kind of awkward in raid. So if you do see her in raid teams, right, it's because of her defense reduction. So some people actually experiment putting her in a melee team for her defense reduction, and I think they did find some success, but honestly speaking, it's not like a standard build, so I don't encourage that. And speaking on the arena side, because there's way too many earth units that are really good right now, with Kamel, Mayro, even Rue running around, it makes water units hard to be outstanding within arena. So I personally feel that Yuze is not a bad unit, but she's kind of awkward because there's a lot of maps which are very range centric right now, such as Ancient Ruins, such as the library map. So Yuze kind of sucked on those maps, like honestly speaking, cause her weapon skill doesn't really touch the enemy in terms of the AoE, let's say if they do hide in the corners, and if they do decide to continuously run away from you, right, it's hard for you to do your thing, which is to stand still and hit them. And that is one thing which I don't really like about Yuze, and I personally think she isn't really that good because weapon skill regen speed in general isn't really in a good spot right now, because a lot of units, they are very hyper offensive, right? You have Lilith, you have Mark 99, you have a lot of range unit, a lot of crit units, you have Kamel as well, which does insane damage. So nowadays the battle ends way before you actually launch your second or even third weapon skills if your opponent is heavily outstatting you. So weapon skill regen speed party buff is in an awkward spot, like a lot of other good arena players actually talked about with me, right? Weapon skill regen speed will only be good if you have a good unit that can actually get a lot from the other unit's party buff. And in Yuze's case, right, Yuze isn't really a good unit. She's decent, but decent isn't really gonna get you anywhere within arena because there's just way too many outstanding units right now with a lot of versatility as well as more varying playstyle compared to her. But I would say that Yuze does have a niche, and that is to counter mono fire team within the Masters arena, because there's really very little Yuze users around. There's no point in you banning Lifeguard Yuze, and if you do decide to build one Lifeguard Yuze, right, you have a very good chance that you will be able to use her no matter what situation it is. So that's that going for her. But in general, I just don't think that she's a spectacular unit right now. But if, let's say, she does get a bit of minor buff in terms of numbers for her defense reduction, or even a slight improvement to her movement speed increase, I think she could be good and she could see more use in terms of arena wise. And the third unit on the list is Priestess Veronica. So I myself actually run the Priestess plus Future Knight combo in Arena, and I'll say that this team is not the best, but it's pretty fun and people actually don't really face them a lot. So you're gonna have a lot of fun 1v3ing people with Veronica if they don't know how to deal with her. But other than that, I feel that Veronica is not that good in Arena because there's only one team you can feed her on, and that team doesn't perform on every map, so that's that. And for the red side, I think she's definitely one of the better support units because she has multiple buffs in terms of crit hit chance, in terms of crit hit multiplier, as well as a heal inbuilt into her weapon ability. So if you do need a supportive buffer, or a unit you can run with Future Knight or Yuze or any weapon skill regen speed hero in the future, then Veronica is your choice. And next we have Noble Succubus Bianca. So Bianca is actually really weird in terms of her AI setting, and I think even till this day her AI is still a bit wonky, and that's why in terms of the settings where she's controlled by the AI, right, she isn't really that good. And she's not seeing as much use within the raid right now because the water raid teams are opting to use Lucy in their lineup as compared to Bianca. So Lucy with a water weapon actually boosts the whole team's damage tremendously as compared to Bianca, who only increase her own damage and she doesn't really benefit the team. So Bianca's kit is more suited for PvP setting right now because she reduced the attack of the enemy while boosting her own attack, but it doesn't benefit the whole team. That's why she sees less use within the raid. She's not a bad unit within guild raid, by the way, but just not the most optimal. As for the arena setting, she's definitely viable, but do take note that she's a unit that requires a lot of stats because she relies a lot on her 200% charge, critting your enemy in order to burst them down. Lastly, we have Grand Admiral Marina. So Marina has been outshined by Future Princess in terms of most PvE content because what she can do in story mode as well as orbital lift, Princess can do it better. So you don't really see her being used over Future Princess for your PvE content. And in terms of guild raid, I think I don't need to talk too much. She's a tank, she has HP buff, she doesn't do a lot of damage, so she's no good in guild raids as well. In terms of arena, I think she's okay. She's a very skill intensive unit right now. Due to the recent buff to her weapon skill, she can actually cast it while running immediately, which lowers the skill cap because you won't really see yourself cancelling her weapon skill so easily. And I think she's a good wildcard unit if people are not prepared for her, because people will think that Marina is weak in arena, right? But in actual fact, she's not that weak. It's just that it's very hard to hit her weapon skill without being chained by your enemy, because her skill requires you to close in on the enemy, and a lot of units have pretty decent aiming range in terms of their weapon skill. So that makes Marina weaker, but that doesn't make her a bad unit. It's just that she's harder to use and you need to time your skill as well as position yourself better in order to use her in arena. And that's it for this video. Hope this video is helpful in terms of decision making for you guys so that you guys can actually go for the units that are most suited for your needs. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more videos from this channel, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!